Excellent. Shane, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to begin our conversation before we get into your prowess in real estate by asking you this. I know that when COVID and the whole pandemic thing happened, it really shook up the market and it's had a chance to go through several revolutions. What kind of waves did the pandemic create for you that you're still feeling to this day, or how did it change the way that you approach business?
I've been in real estate for 20 years, but that doesn't mean I know how to predict the market.
Yeah.
I learned that lesson a long time ago. Every time I try to predict the market, I'm usually wrong. So if you're at COVID and you're in real estate, what's your general thought process going to be if you're locked in your home? Like, if just pretend you're in real estate, what would you think would happen to the market?
I would imagine it's going to tank.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Why would people, if you're locked in, why would the market go up, right? That's the initial thought process.
Uh-huh.
What happened during COVID is the market shot up, like skyrocketed, blew up to levels we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Not at least not as long as I've been around in this market cycle.
Yeah.
I have PTSD from the crash in 2008 to 2013.
Yes.
So, come 2017, I was thinking, this market's starting to get hot, and it was nowhere near, right? So that's exactly when I determined I have no knowledge of what the market's going to do. The best I can do is look about 3 months out, and that gives me a general idea of where things are. But beyond that, it's just pure speculation that people like to talk about. Basically, it's
Yeah.
like gossiping. Um,
Yeah.
so what happened during COVID is people were stuck and they decided they want to move. And also with the hybrid environment, with working at home, people decided I can move from expensive California, come to cheap Tennessee, have my remote job, still have my California salary, and work in a cheaper part of the country.
Yeah.
So where I'm at, particularly in Tennessee, Georgia, we had a lot of people moving here from other states.
Yeah.
So that was a big, that's basically what COVID did for our area and our market. It showed me that one, I'm not as smart as I think I am when it comes to determining what the market is. And two, just got to go with what happened. So the market went up, we adjusted and we just went with it.
So how's the market right now? What's going on?
It's a weird market right now.
Yeah.
Uh, you have buyer demand, but at the same time, you don't have a lot of houses on the market because the sellers who got the really good interest rates, if you locked in a good payment in 2020 and 2021 at 2 or 3%, you don't have a lot of incentive to move. And my personal thought process is we had a big wave of people moving between 20 and 22. I think that's slowed down a little bit as well.
Yeah.
We are nowhere near what a normal market is. A normal market is 90 days on market. It's not 1 week, it's not 2 weeks, and it's not even 30 days, which is where we're at right now.
Yeah.
We're also seeing too that it's returned to more of a cyclical nature. So
Mhm.
I do property management, rental property, and all that as well. And one thing we're seeing is that October through December has slowed down again.
Yeah.
Uh, During COVID, it did not slow down at all. It's slowed down because people holidays typically are not moving during that time frame.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to see that again. So in the real estate industry, if you're a real estate agent, from January to June, it goes up, and then from July to December, it kind of goes zigzag up, down, up, down.
Interesting.
Rental in the rental market, same thing. You can fill properties really easy until about October through December, and then it sort of zigzags. It's hit or miss on filling things. So
Okay.
that's our industry in a nutshell as far as how it cycles through the year, and that's how it should be. Again, from COVID on, it got really messed up because things were just overheated and hot.
Yeah. So let's peel back the layers of how you got into real estate. Take me back to when you were a kid. Where were you born and raised? And what was your dream? What did you want to be when you grew up?
Uh, so uh, I was a young boy, right? What are boys like when we're young and we're in the 80s.
Yeah.
I want to be an astronaut.
Uh-huh.
Yep, I didn't turn out to be an astronaut, but
Yeah.
that's okay. Um, I always had a penchant for education as well. I like teaching. That's why I like doing things like this. I like giving knowledge. But what got me into real estate is honestly, I went to college. I originally was really into computers because that's when computers were coming out. Again, I'm kind of older now. And then I went to Georgia, and the computer thing. I'm smart. I'm not that smart. Computer engineering, that's a whole nother level above me. So I figured out I need to do something different. So I waved my finger around and picked a degree. It turned out to be real estate. The University of Georgia actually has a really great real estate program. Now, their program teaches you to go work for a corporation. So, like, go for a racetrack and determine where to find properties to put a gas station. That is what they focused on. But it was very valuable, and in fact, it taught me a lot about finance, time value of money, a lot of things that a layperson doesn't know when they're getting into real estate. And then what really kicked me off is I was in an entrepreneurial class. It was an elective course, and I don't know if you've ever had teachers who are just kind of like really tough. This guy was from Israel. He was in their special forces, and he was just a really tough teacher, hard class. But he recommended a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which
Yeah.
I'm sure you and everybody at this point knows what that book is.
Yeah.
It kicked me off on the path of doing real estate and entrepreneurial journey and everything. But um, you know, over time, I've learned that's very idealistic of a book, but it did get me started on my journey. So once I graduated college, I figured that I would go ahead and work 80 hours to avoid a 40-hour job at all cost. I even took third shift jobs so I could work during the day to figure out what I'm doing. And what it took me years. So it took me 2003 to about 2005 just to kind of figure out what I'm doing because I graduated college. I had no sales skills, I had no marketing skills. So I went 2006, 2007, really heavy into real estate investing, at least what I thought was real estate investing. It just turns out I was really good at borrowing money. And then from 2008 to 2013, the bank stopped loaning money, the market tanked, lost everything. 2014, I decided to get back into real estate with a low leverage way, which would be being a real estate agent.
Yeah.
I could sell a house, pick up a commission. I don't have to borrow money to do that because again, kind of PTSD about debt.
Yeah.
I'm okay with debt, short term debt. I'm very hesitant about long term debt,
Yeah.
particularly where I'm at in my age right now. So did that for a few years, had a really great team, and then I started a property management company. I had one previously; it broke up to a bad partnership. I started that again in 2020. So that's what I'm doing. I've also built on and started adding on adjacent industries. So like if I'm a property manager, I have owners who own rental property. So I went and got an insurance license so we could sell them insurance, right? So I look for ways to create adjacent revenue streams that tack onto what I'm doing already. So that in a nutshell is my 2 minute version of my life.
So let me ask you this. Being a real estate agent, and I've had great experiences. I've got two homes. I'm good friends with my real estate agents. There's a special mix. There's a special personality that can do that, that can change people's lives. It's a big deal. What were those early seeds that were planted into you that ended up getting harvested and becoming this world that you're in of selling and helping people find that dream home?
So when you think about being a real estate agent, what do you think being a real estate agent is about?
It's a lot of things. I mean, it's time management, it's personality, reading personalities, finding what your client needs, and then coming through, being reliable, always being there and being that
Yeah.
go-to person.
So to be a successful real estate agent, like most people getting into being a real estate agent saying, I want to sell real estate, but really it's a sales and marketing gig. You have to understand how to generate marketing, to generate leads, and then to generate sales. And to generate sales, if you're going to be good at it, you need to have empathy and you need to actually understand what your client wants, what your client needs, and have the patience to work with them because people come in a variety of flavors, and you've got to have the openness and empathy to work with them to find the house. But to actually be successful, you got to have sales and marketing, and that's where most real estate agents fail because there's not a lot of cash flow in this business. And if you don't know how to go hunt and kill and feed yourself every month, you're not going to make it. So you have to first learn those skills to take care of yourself to generate the business, and then you have to learn how to be there for your customer. If you can answer your phone call, answer the questions, and do things in a timely manner, you're ahead of 80% of all other agents. And
Yeah.
that's true for most businesses. It's just a matter of doing that. And if you could do that, you're already ahead of the pack.
So who's been that hero for you? Who's been that inspiration for your career?
Inspiration for my career. Um, you know, I've had a lot of teachers, a lot of mentors and stuff, but a lot of it comes down to me that I just wanted to build a life that I could dictate on my own terms.
Yeah,
So that was my main focus. I don't have a particular one individual. I've never been called up like, like Elon Musk or something like that because um, honestly, I don't aspire to make billions of dollars. I think that comes with more headaches than anything. My goal is to be able to build a life that I could dictate on my own terms, that I can uh, freedom of time
yeah,
is the biggest thing with me and my business and why I do all this. Particularly, I'll give you an example. This past year, my dad got sick with stage 4 kidney cancer. I was able to be at the hospital every minute, every day while he was sick because real estate and my business and my team of people that work with me give me that freedom.
yeah.
So that's what it is for me. It's not one individual. It's just being able to look at people who have built businesses and who do have that freedom to be able to dictate what they want to do in life.
So you mentioned Elon Musk, but in the realm of being in real estate is almost like you're an entrepreneur. I mean, there's a lot of what you're doing that falls into that realm. Who is one of your favorite entrepreneurs? Who would be an entrepreneur that you would love to spend a little time with and ask questions that would benefit you the most on your journey?
Do you know Tim Ferriss?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think he's a very fascinating individual. He'd,
Uh-huh.
he'd probably be a person I like to hang out with
Yeah.
because he likes learning, he likes studying different things, and that kind of fits my mentality and what I like to do.
And
Uh,
Tim's always clear about his mission and what he does and how he goes about it. For
yeah.
you, what is it that gets you up every day out of bed to do these things where you satisfy the client, but you evolve as a human being and a professional yourself? What's that collective energy for you?
I like building. So again, so I have the real estate brokerage, real estate agent business, but I've got agents under me who do most of that now. So uh, building that out. So we have that part of the business, but then I have the property management business. We manage 130 properties. I've got a staff of 2 people that help me with that. So I enjoy learning, doing different things. The next thing we're going to do next year is actually build a business brokerage because my commercial agent, she does a lot of business each year in the millions, but she's got people coming to her wanting to sell businesses. So I think there's an avenue and there's a way for us there because in our smaller market, there's not a lot of business brokers. So that's something else I'm looking. Again, it's an adjacent business to what we're doing. And the key for me is just continually learning and learning how to do businesses better. The biggest change I had this year for me personally is learning to let go of thinking that I could do everything better than my staff and change my mindset to I need to focus on training my staff. Like if they do something wrong, I don't need to come in and fix it. Or if I do fix it, I need to do a video about what I did so they can watch it and learn and they can do it correctly next time. In the past, I have a tendency to just want to fix things myself and skip that step. But since I've been doing that, I've been able to be a little bit more hands off, and they've been much better trained and qualified on helping our clients.
So, along the lines of Tim Ferriss and other people that are out there that kind of help people improve their lives and get to a better place, when you look on the arc of your career, what's the biggest risk that you ever took? One that you went in thinking, man, I don't know what's going to happen, but it ended up being one of the better decisions that you ever made.
So in my 20s, from 2000 to 2010, I basically decided I was just going to give everything and go all in. Um, because I'd read that most entrepreneurs and business people go bankrupt. Obviously, I thought I was smart enough and going to be different from that because,
Yeah,
I can learn from all of this.
yeah.
But I was not going to be afraid to take huge, huge chances. So in 2007, the market was going down just a little bit. I had more experienced investors around me, and they were telling me, and what we decided is we should go buy a bunch of houses because the market will go down for a year or two and then come back up, and then we'll have a lot of equity. So in 2007, I bought 27 houses. Not the right time to buy 27 houses. That would have been 2013. So as far as risk goes, that was a risk I took that completely blew up, right? I lost all these houses. I spent about 3 years learning that when you do go all in, the consequences of your choices can last for years. It took me a long time to work my way out of that mentally, as well as just financially and going through everything. But what I liked is I did that in my late 20s, early 30s, everything blew up. So I figured out what not to do when I was young. And ever since then, I've been able to build and make better decisions and keep getting better each year, year in, year out. And because I was willing to take that huge risk, it's really made me mentally fortified as well, right? I don't get upset if something small happens in my life because I've been through the fire of having uh, a million people calling me, asking me for money or trying to sue me or going through bankruptcy. That's a lot more stressful than, say, my central heat and air system going out for a day or two at my place.
Yeah.
So little things don't stress me. I learned all my biggest mistakes of what not to do. So even though it felt like the worst thing in the world then, it was the biggest risk I took then. It's helped me develop and be successful now.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight, ran into that version of you before you got into real estate, before you knew that this was going to be your life, and you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've lived, the wisdom you've accumulated over the years, what advice would you impart on that younger version of you?
So have you ever heard of shadow work? Have you ever done shadow work or
Uh-uh.
a version of it? So what it is it's this concept that we fragment ourselves through life. So we like the simple version is you take a piece of paper, you go back through and you just start thinking through, okay, what point in my life, my 8 year old self, what did you do? What did you do good? What did you do bad? And then you basically say, I accept you for all the mistakes you did. You know, I love you. I appreciate you. And I actually went through and did that through all segments of my life. And I really wouldn't change anything because it would not make me who I am today. The biggest thing I might do would be a little more hesitant and tell myself to be more hesitant on who I choose to associate myself or believe in around me, as far as thinking this person's dependable or thinking that person's dependable. Because when you're younger, you're a little more idealistic and you don't understand people and human nature as well. So there's a lot of people I depended on or believed in that kind of, when things went bad, disappeared.
Yeah.
So that would sort of be the synopsis of what I would tell myself, but I really wouldn't change anything because I like who I am today and I like the journey I've taken.
Yeah, for sure. So of all of the things that you've achieved and evolved into at this point in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Basically that what I was talking about earlier, I was able to be there for my dad.
Yeah.
Uh, time, I have my time. If I need to take off, I can trust my team and my staff to handle it, or I can, check in for an hour or two and know things are still going. Business doesn't grow when I do that. So to grow, I have to be more involved, but just freedom. If I want to go hiking for a week into the wilderness, I can trust and do that. So freedom is the biggest thing for me.
For sure. So at the end of the day, everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, all of your clients, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
The perception thing what I learned about that is you can't ever figure out what people think of you. And when I was younger, it used to bother me when I would hear somebody said something about me that was completely out of left field. Doesn't bother me at all. Uh, my perception of me would probably be along lines of when I first started all this, my mantra was I don't want to be average. So my perception of me is I'm a little bit weird, I'm a little bit different, and I'm definitely not average.
Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
if anyone wants to hire you, reach out, they're curious, how do they do that? How do they get in touch with you and hire you?
Sure. So I am in Northwest Georgia and Chattanooga, Tennessee area. We do property management, have a real estate brokerage, also have an insurance agency, and I run a real estate investor meetup group. If you're in the area, very well connected there. To find me, very simple. Just search either Shane Wilson Training or Shane Wilson Real Estate. That'll pull up most of my socials, most of my contact information, and you can shoot me a message there.
Okay, cool. Shane, thank you, sir. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Have a great holiday season.
All right, you too. Thank you very much. I enjoyed
Thank
it.
you. Yeah, it's great. Cool. Hey, man, we're out. Hey, this was great. Thank you so much. I appreciate your story.
No problem. Thank you.